Good day, YouTube. Back in for another weekly outlook. Today is Saturday, November 8th, 2025. This is for the weekly outlook of the week of November 9th. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off with some scripture, man, coming from Proverbs 6, verses 6 through 8. It says, Go to the ant, O lazy one, observe her ways and be wise, which having no chief, overseer, or ruler, she prepares her food in the summer and brings in her provision of food for the winter in the heart. What does that mean? The ant is prepared ahead of time before that winter comes and before we don't have an abundance of supplies and stuff like that. Like they're already prepared, they're already ready. And I strongly believe same way in life. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what tragedies, what tragic circumstances may happen. So we got to be prepared. You know what I'm saying? I ain't there yet, but I'm definitely going to be, aiming and pushing towards that way, right? Never know what can happen in life. So again, this is because we're preparing. That's the same reason why, also if you want to do this in life, you're going to be doing this in our trading journey. So I'm preparing ahead of time what I would like to see the market do prior to the market opening up, right? Now, the move might not happen as soon as the market open, or the move could happen. But again, we are being prepared in advance so that way we can participate in these opportunities. All right. So last week, we did AU, EU, GU, and UJ. So I'm just going to be sharing how did those play out. So starting off with AU, my bias was a sell, and most certainly the market did sell, right? Continue to push on down. It did make it to the zone that I said it would make it to. But the sale did take place, and people were able to participate in that. Moving on to EU, a bias was a sell. Instead of pulling back, it just continued to push lower. And hey, that's what can most definitely happen because just because we are losing volume and interest in selling, it does not mean that the price will not continue pushing lower. And that's exactly what it did. So I didn't get what I wanted, but the market did sell, which was the overall bias. Moving on to GU, my bias was also a sell if the screen will load. Again, just quite similar to EU. I thought the market would pull back first before continuing to sell, but instead of doing that, it just continued to sell. And last but not least, UJ. So for USD JPY, for everything else was selling, my bias was the opposite in this case. So it would have been a buy. And again, when I approached the market to analyze USD JPY last week, I thought that we would get some correction of some sort and then push higher. However, we didn't get that. Market just continued to push higher. Then, this massive correction here. All right, so getting started for this week, let's look at the DXY. A bias for DXY last week was a buy. I expected for the market to pull back, and it didn't do that. Nonetheless, the overall analysis saying that the market was going to go higher was there, right? Sometimes, we just don't get what we want, but we're patient. So quite similarly, my bias is still a buy for this week. Now, what I must add on to that though is that though my overall bias for a buy is present, it is actually currently selling right now, right? Because we broke out of that trend line and my last structural point. So take that with a grain of salt. Overall buying, but currently selling. Right. And in order for me to say that has ultimately changed and went back to buying, I definitely need to see more structure. This is a very impulsive trend right here, right? I need some along the lines to look like, you know, I mean, we're already at a great level right now. So if we can do something like this, boom, incorrect, and then proceed to push higher. That's what I would be looking for, to say that the market is continue buying. But as of now, the market is selling, right? Big time. Now, for this week, again, same pairs, AU, EU, GU, and UJ. If my dollar is buying, AU, EU, and GU would be doing the opposite. They'd be selling. And the dollar is currently selling, so these would be currently buying, right? So all that means we just need to exercise a little bit more patience, in order to participate in some of these opportunities. All right, so AU, a bias is sell. Why? Looking at this here, this is just, it's not really directional, right? So I'm looking at this trend here, and it's okay, I clear downtrend. I compare it to the previous trend, stops in about right here. So this is the impulse. So this tells me that my bias is a buy. I'm leaning toward, sorry, I'm leaning towards the sell. My bias is a sell. Now that we have that, um, like I said before, it is, there's a lot of noise right now, right? Just indecisiveness on what exactly it is doing. But what I like to see though, for the market to continue selling, I always like to get my pullbacks to a good level before I continue to sell low. So that's what I would like to see, preferably. Right now, it might not even do that. It could, again, just fall off. And then get that bigger correction, and then have a temporary buy along with EU and GU. Moving on over to EU. My bias here is a sell. Why do I say it's a selling? Looking at this trend here, not compared to the previous trend, this is a correction to this trend, so my bias is a sell. Now, this is a very impulsive correction. Um, nonetheless, nonetheless, all we need to do is wait till the market gets to this area, nice area that we like to see it, strong area that we can see the price potentially turn around from, which is already at a great level right now. Break structure, potentially retest, and then continue selling lower. Moving on over to GU. Bias here is also a sell. Looking at this trend, sorry, this trend compared to the previous trend, tells me we're currently in the correction right now. Need the market to be at a strong level. To get to a strong level, it could be in here, or it can be in here, right? Break structure, potentially get a retest, and then continue selling lower. And then last but not least, everything else is selling. UJ be the inverse. But in this case, just the futures. Not to confuse anybody. UJ should be buying, but But because it's futures, it's the actual inverse, meaning that's going to be flipped upside down of what the actual Forex pair will be doing. As we can see here, now this is very ideal, right? This is very ideal compared to EU and GU. Reason why I say this, right? Because it had that impulsive trend after breaking structure, that downtrend, and then it pulled back, right? So now this is that ABC like kind of Elliott wave correction, like, right? This is right. We have a correction. This whole thing is correction, but it's ABC like, right? And this last wave, the C wave, is very impulsive. And then this is what we want to see.